Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's review, which is going to be Igor by Tyler, the Creator. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, now is the time to do so, to watch quality music review content by two amateur music reviewers. So get clicking. And today's album was chosen by Brett, so I'll let him go ahead now and he can give his thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Again, I'm going to always start with a little apology. So I want to apologise just in case I don't get my message across clearly with this album, because it did confuse me. But let me start by saying, when I first was listening to this felt like nothing I'd ever heard before. It was quite unusual in that sense. And as the album went on, starting to get different things. I kind of want to refer to a couple of also bands and artists we've already listened to on our channel. So it could be a good opportunity for other people to go back to listen to those reviews. But things that came to mind were Run the Jewels, A Tribe Called West, and Robot Koch, which is a strange mix. And this is then what this album kind of felt like to me. I really like this album. I really, really liked it. Which again probably doesn't surprise you, probably doesn't surprise other people probably listen to this. However, saying that, I would still struggle to maybe take particular songs and put it on my playlist, which sounds quite a bit of a contrast. I think as an album as a whole, listen to it, it really, really intrigued me. I'd say it's really hard to explain, but I got quite into it. Like I said, it was because something I wasn't really expecting. There was a lot going on. It was listenable. I could see myself quite easily listen to the whole album again. But in terms of individual songs on like a random playlist, I don't think it would fit in. This to me felt like a really artistic album. I was really quite impressed by it. There might be one song that I could potentially take and put on my playlist. But like I said, really, the song should all be listened to as an album, I feel. Hopefully, I might be able to make more sense as we go through songs and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't what I expected. Nothing I'd really sort of listened to or experienced before. But overall, really did quite like the album.
Okay, well, I think we must be, maybe we're twin brothers, really. I don't know, because I haven't really got much more to say than that. I mean, I totally agree with everything you've said.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I don't know. I shouldn't really say that because obviously it has turned out that I'd say it's had been quite similar in some ways. I was never quite sure how you might have felt about that as well. So I'll let you carry on there.
I mean, I will. Yeah, I was going to say I'll add to it. I'm not really adding to it. I'm just kind of probably going to end up just pretty much saying the same things that you just said. So I think the name, Tyler, the Creator, when I first saw it, okay, I didn't really think much of it. But I think the name, the Creator, really is a good name because I found it very creative music. It's
100%
music that I've never heard before. I found it just really unique. Now there might be that type of music around. It's not the sort of stuff that we normally listen to, and maybe there is. But in any case, it's the first time I've ever heard that kind of, how would you describe it? Like urban music, hip hop type style, where it was really, I suppose the word I would use is quite experimental. It seemed there was so much going on, like you said, and I was intrigued. Like every time one track finished, because the tracks were quite short, they weren't like really long, like where they just drag on. Yeah. So they were a decent length. And after every track finished, I was like, oh, I'm kind of looking forward to the next track. Kind of, what's it going to do? What's the sort of weirdness are we going to be listening to? Because every track just felt very artistic. But like you, there's nothing there that I would want to take away and listen to again individually. There was no song that I particularly liked. I just enjoyed listening to the album as a whole, just because it was something different. Now, this shouldn't play a part in it, but maybe subconsciously it does. The fact that the last album we listened to was really long, dragged on, and I didn't enjoy reviewing it. So maybe because of that, just the fact it was 39 minutes long, the tracks were short, that probably, if I'm being honest, probably does play a part in it. It shouldn't do. Whereas if maybe we listened to a really good album beforehand and then it came to this, maybe I wouldn't like it as much. So yeah, I'm the same boat as you. I kind of like the album without liking an individual song, if you see what I mean. I just thought it was unique, different, and I suppose the best way I can sum it up is I enjoyed reviewing it, whereas like the previous album, didn't enjoy reviewing it at all. Didn't have anything to say. Whereas in this one, I made quite extensive notes on some of the tracks. So yeah, quite a good album to review and interesting to listen to.
Yeah, Brendan, there's some good points that you made there, which I think carries on from there. So to go back, yeah, Tyler the Creator, great name, very suited for. And it's funny because generally bands and artists, their names will never ever represent sort of what they're about. Really, it's just something totally non-linked, shall we say. But this very much fitted that, and I think you're right. I think the fact that the songs weren't too long probably helped. Yeah, maybe the previous album may have had an effect to that. I like to think that wouldn't have been the case. I think regardless of what we listened to, I do believe that we probably would have still come up with the same conclusion, or I like to think I would have done. And yeah, as one track finished, it was interesting to see what the next track or next song was going to entail. And like I said, it was experimental, but because it wasn't overly long, it was just about enough amount of experimenting and different stuff going on. Because really, you could argue there's other things we listened to. Maybe we could argue there's too much. There's too much going on, but actually, for some reason, it just seemed to work quite well. So yeah, this genre, because I listened through and then I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole in terms of clicking on different artists that appeared on the album and what it was all about and stuff, and just kept going through so many different things, which I might touch on as we go through this. But yeah, known as alternative hip hop, which I think could be a genre I might be quite into now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you probably liked it a bit more than I did, to be honest. But again, I don't know. I'll listen to it again once we finish all the albums and we start ranking them. So yeah, it might grow on me a bit more, but definitely for me an interesting album to listen to. But I probably wouldn't go as far as saying it's something I'd really want to get into. But who knows? Okay. So should we start going through each individual track? So the first one was Igor's Theme. I put down, obviously I didn't know what this was at the beginning. It's the first time listening to this artist, so had no expectations. Anyway, I put down all messed up sounds, rather odd, and not a proper song. There was just like so much going on, like listening to it for the first time. It was like, what is this? This is a bit out there kind of thing.
Especially right at the start of the song, where it's just like that sort of one note, just like I thought, oh my god, what have we got ourselves in for this one? And then yeah, then so much going on. But again, I didn't hate it. It's weird. Like some of the I put like something like relaxed music, R&B, rap, easy listening to dance. That's sort of like the Robot Koch type thing. Jazz kind of track, which you think if you written that down, you think what are you talking? But actually, it did seem to work quite well. I just wasn't expecting it, and I said I actually didn't mind it by the time that song actually finished.
Okay. The second one was Earthquake, spelt with an F.
Earthquake.
I put down very varied song, all sorts going on, experimental with an abrupt ending.
Yeah, totally agree with that stuff there. And this is probably one of his more bigger songs that he had released that's all gone to the charts. And that's something like no other songs are really, it sounds like he really is like a album creator, and that's sort of his genre he does there. I had it sort of like now was getting sort of a bit of like a 90s R&B sort of vibe to it as well. But again, quite easy to listen to, more sort of a poppy-ish kind of thing. But yeah, and again, I still felt a lot going on, but didn't put me off the song.
I think it was that particular song, Earthquake. What I was reading on the Wikipedia page for the album or the artist, whatever, it said that Tyler, the Creator, had offered that song to Justin Bieber, I think it was.
Yeah.
But he turned it down.
Yeah. Was there another artist as
And
well?
another one. It was some, I think it was some. Was it Rihanna? No, Rihanna.
Oh, Rihanna. Yeah, that's what it was. It was with two. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. I think I put down the song completely changed in the middle. It kind of just went. I can't remember it. I listened to it a few days ago, but it just kind of changed halfway through to something completely different.
Yeah. So again, so then when this track came on, it's like almost like a totally different style. Almost like could have been listened to a different album. I kind of put the artist Timbaland and Black Eyed Peas. Again, I don't know if that's doing it justice or gives it a good sort of feeling to it. But like I said, it's still really sort of unique. Again, really easy listen to. And then you had sort of like keyboard synthetic sort of sounds as well, which again from like sort of dance or like just again you just wouldn't expect on it, but again it seemed to really work. And then I think at the ending it was a really nice sort of piano bit, which you wouldn't really associate with sort of hip hop type of albums. But again, just worked really well with that particular track.
Yeah. Next one. Exactly what you run from, you end up chasing. The title is longer.
I was going to say you've got to be careful because they might now think you've copyrighted the. That's the sound of what the song was, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Reading the titles actually takes longer than the length of the track, the song. So
Which way it just says those exact words.
Yeah, in 14 seconds. So I don't know what to say about that. I suppose we need to discuss why is it there. What's the reason for it, for having that? Any ideas?
Yeah, so it's more. No, yeah. So as I was getting more towards the end of the album, I was sensing more sort of like a love and heartbreak sort of theme, which again, don't really expect on an R&B, a hip hop style album. It's normally guns and crime, which there are a couple of songs where they do touch on that a little bit as well. But in terms of what that actually was meaning about, I don't exactly know. But I was going to joke and say this is a song I was going to put on my playlist. It's not the song I'm really thinking of. However, joking aside, it might be the one I might just take to put on my playlist. Just a little reminder of this album, so it doesn't take up too much time. I think, oh yeah, you know what? I should go back and probably listen to the album, because I'd rather just listen to the album on its own.
Okay. So the next one, running out of time. Yeah, I didn't have much to say about this one. I just put slow, unusual sounds going on.
Yeah, same there. Same sort of what I said before as well, and said even though it feels like when I was writing things down, it shouldn't work, but for some reason it does. And again, just listen. And that's something I found in the album. Like the first one, this album, where really I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was purely really engrossed with the album itself. It really was making me think and trying to work out what things about and how did he create this and what made him think to do certain sounds and stuff. And yeah, so I said I really got into it.
Yeah. The next one, New Magic Wand. Rather gloomy, had a kind of gloomy feel to it. Different voices at the same time going on. There was a long rap bit at the end. So again, it just had a lot going on.
Yeah, this I put here was my least favourite so far. And again, obviously had a bit more rap into it, and it was getting a bit more. This is where they made reference to Run the Jewels. A bit of that. Again, didn't overly hate it, but yeah, it was my least favourite so far.
Okay. And then the next one, A Boy Is a Gun. So lots of swearing, which I don't generally like. I prefer music that doesn't have the swear words in it. Lots of background voices, quite a bit going on in the background. It was an interesting, from what I remember, it was quite an interesting track. Yeah, just a bit unusual. What do you think?
Yeah, same. Thought that obviously a bit more swearing, which again, we know we're not the biggest fan of, but it doesn't mean we don't want it in songs. And this is where it's now getting a bit more sort of like a 90s rap sort of feel. So I was thinking like a Tribe Called Quest, and I think we've done like that. but then also had quite a bit of sort of relaxing R&B music to it. And then again, at some point, it changed completely. It almost was like, it was like the background music was different to what was being voiced. So it was almost like I wrote like a cube mix, as in it was like taking two totally different songs and mixing them together. That's what I kind of felt like a big game, really going to. And then it almost, I was getting the feeling like a girl versus boy situation, or like in a relationship. That's what I sort of got from it there. And then there's obviously reference to another artist we've taken from it, someone called Boy Mass, who was in a band called the OJs, who do the song called Love Train, which you probably might recognise if you heard it. And I think at this point now we've listened to other songs where he's taking samples from other songs or different artists and creating a different way. But yeah, it seemed like really breaking the mold. Got just two different songs. I was getting the feeling I was saying this is where it starts to feel more like a bit like could be like a love sort of album rather than sort of guns and crime, which is weird for a song like A Boy Is a Gun, which you would think on a hip hop album is probably going to reflect a different feel to it.
Next one was Puppet. I put down soul music with a bit of rap. It really felt quite sort of soul track to me. Experimental sounds, although you could probably say that for most of these tracks. And I learned afterwards that Kanye West did one of the rap verses as well. But it's all right.
Yeah, again, all right song. Again, a bit like the other song, it felt like two different songs mixed together. A really sort of hardcore sort of rap type thing, but to like a really relaxing, easy listen to background, which again, I think really works because it keeps me intrigued to the song and gets me to try and focus and listen to what it's generally all about as well. So, yeah, and I think it was quite interesting because I think by the time this video goes out, it's going to be sort of Christmas time. So there was a reference to Santa and Christmas in there, which I thought was quite interesting.
Okay, the next one was What's Good. So a bit more traditional hip hop with an experimental twist. And then I noticed, I put down sounds like a UK rapper saying, I see the light. Just a voice, how he kept saying, I see the light. It just sounded very kind of UK urban kind of thing. I don't know, the voice. And then I looked it up and I think I am correct. There's a guy called, the guy saying that line was a guy called Slow Tie, who's a UK rapper. I think where's he from? Can't remember. I think he might be a white rapper from somewhere up north in England. I can't remember. But yeah, that's something I noticed. And I quite like this track, I guess, more than some of the others, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't know that about the rapper, but I know there's other songs, so I didn't go to all of them, but where he has his other sample stuff, we've got people to sing on them as well. I found it's a bit more upbeat. Again, very sort of 90s rap sort of style, but then also had again this sort of keyboard synthetics in there as well, which was unusual. And then again, a nice sort of piano bit at the ending, which I thought was the best part of the song. Again, yeah, good song.
The next song, I haven't got it down here, but from what I remember, that was definitely the longest song. I think it was 6 minutes or something, called Gone Gone Thank You. So because of the length, I was kind of expecting that a lot was going to happen throughout the song. So like I thought probably the way the song starts is going to be completely different to the way the song ends, kind of thing. So, and I think that did prove to be the case. I put down nice start. It was like a woman. I put down sounds like Florence and the Machine. That for the first couple of minutes anyway. But I didn't know what was going to happen next. I knew something was going to happen. It wasn't going to just continue like that. I was just put down, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting this woman or women, whoever they were, to make that sort of start to the song. And I put down intrigued as to what happens next, because it's a long song, because I knew there was still like 4 minutes of the song left or whatever. I knew something else was going to happen. And it did. And then I put down the rapping starts halfway through the song.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, the song just changed again completely. I think, from what I remember, it's like maybe that 3 different parts to it. Because like the woman we heard at the beginning for the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, we didn't hear again after that. It was all like different parts, almost like sort of different things coming together. It was really weird.
Yeah, totally agree with everything you said there. And I think because it was Gone Gone / Thank You, it's almost like referring like there could have been 2 different songs, which well, why not just have them as separate songs as such? But again, it worked quite well as one whole track, really. This was probably my favourite one on the album. And if I was going to put a song on my playlist, it would probably be this one here. And this was referring to where they had different artists and stuff coming on. So one of them, for instance, was like a 1970s, 1980s Japanese rock artist who, again, when you looked at Wikipedia, didn't have loads of massive, was popular in Japan, but didn't have massive hits. It wasn't like, I'm trying to think of what Queen would have in the UK or in America. So pretty much a nobody, yet somehow gets onto this track. And again, what part of what he put onto there, I don't exactly know, but just think like Tyler just going, yeah, I'm going to take a random Japanese rock artist, bring him into the song, and somehow make it where it's as if, you know how we use our random generator to pick albums. It's almost like you could just be doing that. It's fun, just use a random generator. You know what? Okay, let's see if I can make that work, and somehow it does.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, I Don't Love You Anymore. For this one, I just put down boring. I found it quite a lazy track. Like lazy in the sense of, how can I explain it? Don't know. It's hard to explain. Just a bit lazy, maybe not quite as creative, maybe. You know, like, because we've come to expect so much in terms of the creative side of things. Maybe I meant like that. Just a bit kind of laid back, kind of not really much happening. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. It's hard to say no, because I think it is in a way. This is when I've started referring to that Robot Kocha we've reviewed before. It was definitely one of the weirdest songs on the album. Definitely, for me, wasn't the worst. Again, like I said, I think there's a whole bigger story to this album what it's trying to tell. I don't think I had much else than that, really. No, that's all we've got on those side things there. So didn't hate it, but also wasn't over my favourite.
Okay. The last song is called Are We Still Friends? I put down poor song, very poor song. I thought it was drab sounding and the chorus was repeated a lot. I just didn't really like this one, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. Again, I see where you're coming from with that one there. So this then has Al Green, who's a very big soul, then went into gospel soul singer. Again, what part of his is actually in the song? I don't know that well enough. But yeah, I found it more like a soul, really smooth. Again, something totally different to a lot of the other songs on there. Again, didn't hate it. I think there's something meaning to it. And again, this was so weird because again, the title, Are We Still Friends? Which made me think back to the other songs, and that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe this really is like a sort of heartbreak love sort of album, which I find really unusual for a hip hop album. So it's almost like he is going through a heartbreak and almost finishing with Are We Still Friends? But that's what I sort of got from it. It could turn out to be totally wrong, and actually it's not like anything to do with that at all. But nothing against Stomp, but yeah, I think compared to some of the other really creative stuff, really got me first intrigued. If this was the start of the album, maybe it would have felt a little bit differently. But by then I was invested, so I was probably a bit more open to the last sort of tracks.
So yeah, that's all of it. At the beginning, you said you sort of found some similarities between Robot Cock, Run the Jewels, and
A Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest, yeah. I mean, I'd say the closest thing that the group that you probably compare them to is probably Run the Jewels, because they're also a modern hip hop group. But I just thought this was more experimental, a bit more interesting, maybe to listen to.
Oh no, I totally agree. And I said that referring to just in terms of trying to get sort of thing. Like I said, to me, it still was like nothing I'd heard before, and I still stand by that. It was just there was certain bits I can imagine taking those different style of artists, put them into there as such. So
Yeah.
I refer to Run Your Bow said it. I don't think you're right. It's the closest comparison in one sense, but I still would rate Tyler Creator for me personally higher than Run the Jewels from what I remember, and still found it almost like it in a totally different league. But it's just trying to explain what it was we were listening to, really.
Yeah, it's a
That's
strange
what I
one.
struggled to
As
do.
we said, like I don't think either of us, really sort of loved any of the songs, but we just enjoyed, and probably for me the best word to say would be to say I appreciated the album. So for example, like when I listen back to all of these albums again, when I decide where I'm going to rank the albums, I'm actually more looking forward to listening to this album than ABBA Gold, for example, which I took 9 tracks from, just because I don't know, ABBA Gold, it's just classic hits, whereas with this, it's like, oh, it's something interesting, something new. But anyway, we'll talk more about that when we do the ranking. But yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to it again. And yeah, overall, it was I think we both agree, quite a successful album in an unusual way. Bearing in mind, we're not really, into any of the tracks too much, but just the style of it and just the fact it was something different, I think, is what probably made us, like it in a way.
Yeah, totally agree. And I said I was so surprised because obviously we could take so much individually from it. So like I said before, I'm quite surprised that we both found the same sort of thing, same sort of points regarding that album, which I found also quite interesting as well, really.
Okay, well, I think that wraps things up nicely for today. So yeah, as I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, now's the time to subscribe. And we will see you on Wednesday for the next random album choice, which, by the way, I can tell you now, will be done by me using a different website, generator website. So lots to look forward to. So guys, see you.